Our time is going to be precious tonight. I expect us to go for about 60 minutes. We'll have some time for Q&A for those of you who will have questions. We'll have an opportunity for that for you here coming up in just a second. So I'm going to open up in a word of prayer. And as I open up in a word of prayer, I want to invite those of you who can and will to come on screen with us. That's one of our values here on Sunday nights. We like to pop in on camera so that we can see each other, get to know each other, because more than anything, we're trying to build a community of believers who truly are there for each other, know each other, love each other, and care for each other. So let's open with a word of prayer, and then we're going to jump straight in because we got to get to work and we got some great stuff for you tonight. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you so much for the precious opportunity, God, to lead in your church. We do understand that the church, it belongs to you. You gave your son for it. He gave his life for it. And you have called us to be stewards, to be shepherds and under shepherds for your mission, for your vision, for your glory. So I just pray tonight, God, that we would all walk away with something that would help us to love your people better. Jesus showed us that he had great care for each and every sheep, those who were found and those who were lost. But he had a plan for both of them. So tonight, help us to build a plan for those who are found and for those who are lost and waiting to be found. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so let's jump straight in. I hope y'all can see my screen, and I'll do my best. I know if you have some team members who are coming in, they're popping in, and typically right around 7:10, 7:15, all of our pastors try to come in at once. And so if you've got somebody in the waiting room and they're trying to come in and you know that they're out there, just let me know in the chat just in case I don't see it. So that I can make sure I can go in there and let them in. All right. Real quick, let me do a special shout out to our pastors, Pastor Paula from, did that say Childersburg? Hey, Childersburg. I know Childersburg up there by Sylacauga in the SYL and carrying on. I know exactly where you are. I played college football with a young man from Childersburg. So good to see you. Glad to have you here from Kingdom Authority. Pastor Victor from Ebenezer in Manning, South Carolina. Awesome. Good to have you. Glad to have you. Brother James from Kingdom Builders. Okay, stepping in for your senior pastor who is out. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for being here. Glad to have you, right? And glad to have all the rest of you. So as you drop the names of your churches and things of that nature in the chat, we would love to connect with you. All right. So let's get to work. All right. So here's what we're going to do tonight. By the end of this webinar, what you're going to have is you're going to have the makings of your plan for Easter. Right now, I believe that everything we do ought to be spirit led. We ought to have room for the Holy Spirit. But I also believe that it's super, super valuable and super, super important for us to be as prepared as possible. And that's what we're going to try and do here tonight. We're going to try and make sure that you are absolutely as prepared as possible as you go forward in what God has called you to do, called you and your church to do for Easter. Here's a reality. Many, many years ago, I was a pastor, and I spent many years as a pastor. And I remember coming to an Easter service, and we were believing and we were praying and all these different things for Easter. And after Easter, to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed because not only did we not reach any new people, some of our regulars didn't even show up on that Sunday. And a lot of my pastors and church planners, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, those big days where sometimes your core people decide to travel and move around and be out. And we had one of those days. And as I began to talk to our team, I discovered that we had not invited people, that we had talked about Easter, we prayed about Easter. And I know that sounds simple, and maybe that was just, a big loss on my part, but we just had not done a great job inviting people. And as a result, we didn't see people really come in. And so it was in that moment that I really began to just say, okay, look, I want to pray because I want to be a better steward. It's not about wanting a big church because I want one. It's not about some vanity that I'm carrying, but it's really about how do I steward what God has called us to do? How do I take this community, this region that he has called us into for a reason, for a purpose? He planted the church there for a reason, for a purpose. How do I steward that well? And so one of the things that I figured out and that I learned many, many years ago is that we have a part to play, and that part is called stewardship. God has done his part. We've got to do our part. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to give you a big picture look at putting together a game plan for Easter. And the beauty of this is that it is a framework. It's not a everybody has to do it this way or that way. It's a framework. And in this framework, you can take the makings of everything that is here and you can say, okay, how do we cater this and tailor this to fit us? All right. And for those of you pastors who need some more help, maybe you don't have a media team or social media team and all these kind of things. We have partnered with some designers, and I'll tell you about that at the end of this. So if you want some help putting together your custom plan, then we've got a team of people who can help you do that. And we'll talk to you a little bit more about that. All right. But I want to give you some stuff tonight, very high level, that you can start to implement tonight. That's my promise to you. I'm going to make sure you have some real actionable tools in your hands so that you can take some next steps and move forward. All right. For those of you who I've never met, my name is Henry Tolbert. I'm the owner and founder of Simple Systems Consulting. And I'm a coach and consultant. All right. I'm a consultant because I help church leaders think. Sometimes as leaders, there are things we're trying to figure out, and we need other people around us who understand ministry. That is not to belittle the value of lay people and what they bring to the table, but sometimes a pastor needs another pastor who can help them think through things, who can help them wrestle through what they're hearing from God and what it means to really execute that. I say this all the time. Leaders are born for vision, but teams are born for strategy. And what I mean by that is as leaders, we often get excited because we get vision from God, much like Moses, right? Where he is communing with us, speaking to us, giving us vision about the future. But the problem with that is that the way God gives us vision does not always make sense to the congregation. And so while God gives us the vision, we must have the ability to turn that vision into strategy. We must take what it is that God is pouring into us and translate it for the people. Vision paints a picture of where we're going and what it's going to look like when we get there, but strategy draws a map for how we will get there. And that's one of the things I love to do is I love to come alongside leaders and say, hey, I'm going to help you think through this. But I'm also a coach, which means I help you make progress, right? Which is I'm standing next to you, I'm standing beside you, I'm standing behind you saying, hey, here's the next step. Here's how we move forward. Here's how we take the next step in where God has called us to go. And I think if we take these few steps, it makes a world of difference. All right. Earlier this week, I was just speaking with a pastor in North Carolina who joined our program. And one of the things that I was talking to him about is investing more time and energy in his team. Right. He has some good people around him, but they need more coaching. They need to be loved on more. They need to be taught. Sometimes as leaders, we assume that those close to us, they got it. They got it figured out. And it could not be further from the truth. Sometimes the people closest to the leader, closest to the senior leader, need the most support. And so I was pressing him and pushing him and encouraging him in that direction. And that's what we like to do for all of our pastors. All right. At this point, I have well over 20 years of ministry experience. I know I look like a young man, but I just turned 41 in December. And I have been in ministry really more than 20 years. Started very, very young, went off to college, was vice president of Baptist Collegiate Ministry there, continued on to become a church planter and an executive pastor and a church revitalizer, all of those different things. And I currently serve at as an associate pastor of a church here in Birmingham, Alabama, where I have an opportunity to oversee our discipleship processes, but also to oversee alignment across the 4 campuses that we have. And so not only that, but through our company, Simple Systems, I've been able to serve over 500 pastors over the past 5 years. And we are so grateful to do that through partnerships with denominations and organizations, pastors who have been blessed through many different resources and courses and ebooks and all kinds of things that we have created. We've been able to be a blessing to them. And last, most certainly not least, I have the honor of being a husband and a father of 4 girls. My wife and I are getting ready to celebrate 18 years of marriage coming up here in April, and we are grateful and we are excited about it. One final thing I'll tell you about me, and then we'll go into the presentation, we'll go into the webinar, is that I understand pastors because I am a pastor. When I was a church planter, I was constantly searching for help and support. And it seemed like so many of the people who were talking about what I should be doing weren't in my shoes. I went to seminary. I've got 2 seminary degrees. I've got a master's degree in pastoral counseling. I've got a master's degree in leadership. I went to school, but I was surrounded by so many people who were like these theoreticians, right? They had these theories and these ideas, but they weren't in it. And so I began to think like, Lord, man, it would be great if pastors had other people who were in it with them. And that's one of the things that we decided to do and to become. All right. So let's talk about this. Let's start here. Before I tell you and give you the plan, let's talk about why it's so important. Right. And I want to talk to you about why so many churches end up struggling with Easter. There's a reason for it. It's a very, very simple reason. But I want to put it before you and I want to give it to you because I want you to see this. As I've studied and I've looked for the last several years, we've done Easter preparation for at least the last 4 years with all of our pastors in our program. And one of the things that we have seen over and over again are a couple of common mistakes that we have made. All right. Number one is we make the mistake of going into Easter without a goal. Going into Easter without a goal. Here is why I think goals are so important. Without goals, how do you measure success and disappointment? Right? Now, hear me when I say this. This is what I mean. When we talk about having a goal, if I say it, for example, hey, look, we're going on a road trip. If I don't put a destination on that road trip, anywhere I end up could be right. I can convince myself that I'm in the right spot anywhere I go. But also I can convince myself that anywhere I end up is wrong. And so here's what I mean is that on one hand, what I'm saying is you need a way in order to see that God is being faithful to what he's called you to do. Right. And in the other hand, I'm also saying that you need a way to make sure that you are not being disappointed by the very thing that you've been believing God for. All right. And so one of the things that you need to do is you need to have a goal in mind. And I encourage you to go beyond just having a big crowd. Yes, you want to have more people in the room, more people that you can share the gospel with, but I want you to think more long term, right? It's important that we learn to think long term and say, okay, what do we want to see God do down the road? What are we asking him to do? Are we asking for more volunteers? Are we asking for at least one person to say yes to Jesus? I was speaking with a pastor just 2 weeks ago, and they said to me, hey, we haven't baptized anybody in the last 7 years. It's been our same people all the time, and we just want to see one person baptized. Well, I said, look, that's a goal. Let's begin to pray for it, but let's begin to pray for it. I said, do you have what you need to do a baptism? If somebody says, I want to be baptized this Sunday, do you have a pool? Do you have, the stuff that they would need to be able to do it? I said, a part of faith is preparing like God is going to do what you believe he's going to do, right? So we're talking about having a clear goal. That's the first mistake that we often see, no clear goal. The second one is poor follow-up. Easter is one Sunday out of the year, but it opens the door to the other 51. And so when we take an approach to Easter that says, yes, we want to make this day big, but then we ignore the next week and we don't do follow-up, we're missing out on the opportunity that we could have. When you don't have follow-up, you're practicing a catch and release system in the kingdom. I'm going to say that again. When you don't have follow-up, you are practicing a catch and release system. That means fish are coming in, you're catching them, but because you have holes in your nets, you're letting them go right back into the water before you can ever bring them in to be processed. And so this is the second mistake we see, is going into Easter with no follow-up plan. Number 3 is last minute marketing, right? And if you don't like the word marketing, use evangelism, use promotion. You can use whatever you want to use. But one of the big mistakes is waiting until the last minute. People are starting to decide right now what they're going to do for Easter. Families are thinking about who they're going to invite. What church do we want to take mom to? Where do we want to go, right? People are thinking about that right now. And many times in the church, our events have low attendance because we don't give people a long enough runway to make a good decision. We don't give people a long enough runway. And here's what I know. Our schedules are like a vacuum. If there's space, something will fill it. If there's space in a schedule, something will fill it. And so what you want to start doing is making sure that you're not falling or waiting too long to invite people to come to Easter. All right. As a matter of fact, we rolled out our Easter invites 2 weeks ago. We rolled them out. All right. And if you haven't started yet, that's okay, because I'm going to give you a timeline for when you need to start. And I'm telling you, it's coming up soon. All right. Last one, but not least, one of the things that also makes Easter a struggle is an overworked team. When our teams are out of energy and they're beat up and they're down, it makes it difficult for them to get the energy and excitement up for special events. And I want you to get this. Burnout is not just physical. Burnout is mental, it's emotional, it's all of those different things. And so if you're dealing with a team who is burned out, sometimes they're burned out because they've been doing a lot of work in a short period of time. Sometimes they're burned out because they've been the ones depended on for a long, long time, many, many years. And then sometimes they're burned out because they can't see the fruit of their labor. And I think I should talk about this for just a second. This is one of the pieces of burnout that I think requires more attention from us in the body of Christ. The burnout that comes from discouragement, the burnout that comes from doing what we believe are the right things, but still not seeing results, still struggling and seeing struggle, not just in the church, but even in our own spiritual lives as we're trying to be alive and to come forward and to lead well. And I think it's important that we have a good bead on where our team is. And I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. So these are 4 things that I see most churches struggle with on Easter. Right. Everybody, do me a favor. I want you to put in the chat which one of those has your church struggled with over the past few years. Number 1, number 2, number 3, or 4. You can just put numbers in there. You can put the whole thing. Which of these 4 has your church struggled with the most? Number 1, no clear goal. Number 2, poor follow-up. Number 3, last minute marketing. Or number 4, overworked teams. Which one of these 4 has been the biggest struggle for you over the last few years? I want you to drop that in the chat and let us know which one has been the biggest challenge for you. All right. Because one of the things that we're going to do is that we're going to help you begin to solve these. All right. I see 3s, all of the above. 1, 3, 3. A lot of people said 3. All right. Let's go back to that for a second. A lot of people said 3, last minute, getting the stuff out too late. All right. That's all right. We're going to help you solve that today. Thank you for sharing that. Keep dropping your answers in there. We're going to help you solve it today. And by the end of the day, you're going to have a timeline. I'm going to put it in your hand. As a matter of fact, all of you who are here live in just a little bit, I'm going to put in the chat a timeline, a checklist for you that's got dates, when stuff needs to be done, when you need to get it out, all those different things. I'm going to put it in there for you so you'll be able to go in there and absolutely see it and know exactly what to do. All right. So let's keep going. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Here's how this is going to flow tonight is that I'm going to give you a very simple Easter playbook. All right. I'm going to give you 6 pillars, 6 categories, 6 things that you need to be thinking about. All right. These are going to be the 6 pillars of a successful Easter plan. In each section, I'm going to give you 3 things. All right. I'm going to tell you why this particular area matters so much. Number 2, I'm going to give you a really simple strategy to help you take the next step. And then at the very end, number 3, I'm going to show you something that I am creating for you for those of you who have already gotten our Easter kit, where we are building everything for you. We're making it super easy, super simple. I'm going to give that to you, and I'm going to show you one of the things that we're going to put in that kit. All right. And for those of you who don't know, we built this kit last year. We did a checklist and some other things, and it was so helpful to some of our pastors that we said this year we would expand it. And so this year we expanded that Easter kit to include more items for all of our pastors. And so I'm going to give that to you, and we're going to put it in the members area immediately following this. All right. So let's talk about these 6 areas. All right. Number 1, the first thing you want to do is you want to set your Easter goal. Now, this is where I want to encourage you to take some good notes. Make sure you take some good notes here, because I'm going to give you more stuff that's on than that's on the screen. Everything's not going to be on the screen. Some of this you're going to just hear me say it, but I'm going to give this to you. All right. So here's the first thing I want you to do is I want you to set a clear Easter goal. Why does this matter so much? Because many churches come into Easter focused only on attendance, Focus only on attendance. At this point, I think we all know that attendance does not equal health. We all know that attendance does not equal health. Equal health is that I can point to some churches of 25 people that are healthier than some churches of 1,000 people. Attendance does not always equal health. Right. Now, that doesn't mean that more attendance is wrong. But when you see a church growing in attendance, that's because there's something else happening beneath the surface that you do not see. And so what I'm challenging you to think about is, what are the things beneath the surface? What are the things that you really want to set as a goal that are in alignment with who you are? All right. So for me, for example, I may say, man, I want to see five families visit our church on Sunday and take the next step to making a decision for Christ. I want to see at least one person get baptized, right? I want to go to coffee this week with 3 families who visit us on Easter, right? I want you to think just beyond attendance, right? Y'all know we've got this reputation as church leaders of only caring about butts and budgets, nickels and noses, right? I want you to think beyond attendance. Yes, we want to have a good attendance, and I'm going to give you a strategy to do that. But I want you to think beyond attendance, and I want you to really be able to cast a vision for how this Easter can be transformational for your church and for the people who visit, right? And so what you want to do is, I want to encourage you to include in your goals making new connections, right? What does that look like in your culture? Right. Several years ago, when I was pastoring a church, one of the things that I would do is, at the end of service, I would stand at the door as people walked out. And every family who was a new first-time guest, I would invite them to coffee that same week so that I could make real connections. And that year, about 80% of the people who joined our church joined at the coffee shop and then made it official the following Sunday. It was a goal of having real connection. Right? What is your goal for real connection, for follow-ups, for retention? Right? It's not just a packed house, but it's more than that. All right. So here's what I want you to do is, I want you to set a very specific SMART goal, just one goal. You don't need a whole bunch of them, just set one goal. All right. For example, you may say, hey, we want to see 10 first-time guests return at some point in the next month. Right? That might be your goal, but set a real goal. All right. Please hear me. This is not only going to make a difference for you, but it's going to make a difference for your team. You need to make sure that the people around you, your volunteers, your entire church, that you can cast a vision for why Easter matters that goes beyond just having people in the room. You want to cast that vision. You know why? Because it's their family members who are going to be coming in there. It's their children who have walked away from the church. It's their spouses who stay in the bed every Sunday while the rest of the family get up and go to church. It's their coworkers who are causing trouble on their job, but they're going to invite them to come to worship. And when you can communicate that you have a real plan for those people to take next steps, you're going to see an uptick in the number of people that your congregation will invite. Right? I don't invite people to a restaurant that I know is going to mistreat them, because when they go, they're going to associate that visit with me. Likewise, if you have a good experience, if you have a good plan, it will say to your people that we're prepared for the people that you're going to invite. So the first thing you need to do is set one goal. And I'm using the term SMART goal. All right. I think many of you know that acronym, but if you don't, it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Right? Set one goal, just one SMART goal for what you're believing God for Easter. All right. Real quick, just off the top of your head, you can refine this later. Everybody, I want you to drop one goal. What's one goal that you have for Easter? I want you to put it in the chat. One goal you have for Easter, so that we can celebrate and we can pray about that together. But what's one goal you have for Easter? All right. While you're posting that, I'm going to go ahead and go to my next part. But let me tell you this. One of the things that we're putting in the Easter kit is that we're putting a goal setting worksheet in that kit. And it's going to be a tool that's going to be there to help you map out SMART goals with a realistic goal and strategic goals for your Easter, right? It's going to be a really simple document, but it's going to walk you through the process of thinking through, man, what are our goals? Where are we at right now? Where are we trying to go? What are we trying to see God do? Super, super important. All right. So what's one SMART goal that you have? Let me see it in the chat. One SMART goal. Miss Paula said 5 new families attend. That's awesome. 5 new families. All right. So you want to see 5 groups of people and a family that could end up being 15 people, 20 people, whatever it is, but 5 new families. So Tim said 10 guests for the 10 a.m. service. Someone else said youth development. Love it, love it, love it. All right. But you want to set one goal and you want to be clear and you want to be specific with that goal and set it before your people. You know, this is one of the things I learned growing up in the Baptist church, man. A goal can make a world of a difference. A goal can make the world of a difference. You know, I grew up in a church where we had that big fundraising thermostat on the wall for years, right? For years. And it took us a while to get there. But I tell you, having that thing on the wall gave us a goal to achieve. It gave us something to press towards. All right. So you want to set a goal. Number two, this is another big one, is you need to make sure you start your outreach early. Start your outreach early. This is how you're going to have a more productive Easter. All right. Here's one of the reasons you want to start early. Most people need multiple touch points before they make a decision to attend. All right. Have you ever felt like you kept seeing something and you saw it so many times that you started to believe, like, man, maybe God is trying to talk to me about this. Maybe he's telling me to go, but I saw it here and I saw it there. Then you mentioned it and you mentioned it. Now they're like, man, I got to do it. All right. I'll give you a prime example. We were talking about a change in our church to something that the senior pastor was doing. And I went to him on Sunday and I said, hey, man, we should consider doing this. And he looked at me, he looked at one of the other guys who's in the room, and said, I got to do it. I said, why you got to do it? He was like, because you just said it to me. He said, he said it to me just last week. And the week before that, somebody else came to me and said it. He said, so I got to believe that enough of y'all have said it, that this is wisdom. I need to walk into it. He had those multiple interactions, and those multiple interactions, everyone helped them move closer to a decision. And I want you to understand, Coca-Cola knows this. Gatorade knows this. This is why they keep on showing you commercials. They keep on showing you commercials. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting here drinking a Dr. Pepper right now. I'm sitting here drinking a Dr. Pepper. And a part of it was, to be honest, I'm just be honest, I saw a commercial. And I was like, man, I hadn't had a Dr. Pepper in a while. Let me grab one. And so I grabbed the Dr. Pepper, right? And so what I'm saying to you is, the more opportunities you give people to engage with you, the more likely it is that they will take the next step and come over and say yes. They need multiple touch points. People rarely get married after one interaction. They need multiple opportunities, right? And so you want to give people multiple opportunities. Here's another reason, is that you want to make sure that you're touching everywhere. You want to do digital invites, personal invites, and you want to do community outreach. All of them matter together. And let me say this, if you're trying to reach young people, and when I say young people, if you want to reach people who are 40, 45 and under, you got to be using digital methods for outreach. You got to be using digital methods. Can I tell you something? I don't know the last time I picked up a physical newspaper. I can't even tell you the last time I picked up a physical magazine. Really, the only physical thing that I read on a regular basis is my Bible. But I even got Bibles on my phone. All my books are on my phone. My commentaries are on my phone. My resources are on my phone or iPad, my device, whatever it is. And so what you need to do is you need to interact with people in multiple places in multiple ways in order to help them come in and say yes. All right. So let me give you a simple strategy. Let me give you something to help you. All right. I want you to create something, or create a campaign, or just something that you're going to share with your church called Who's Your One. All right. I want you to write this down. Who's Your One? And basically, it's a church-wide campaign to ask everybody, who is the one person that you are going to bring with you Easter Sunday? Who is your one? If everybody in your church brings one person, your attendance doubles overnight. if everybody just brings one person? All right, so simple strategy. Who is your one? Who is your one? All right, who's the one person that you're going to bring? You're just asking every member to bring one person. Bring one person. All right. Now, one of the things that we're going to give you in the Easter kit, two things actually that are going to really help you is number one, we're going to give you an Easter invite card design. And so we've got an Easter invite card. We're going to give you that invite card. You can customize it. You can put your logo on it, all that kind of stuff like that. And all you got to do is print it and just give it to your congregation and let them pass it out to people as they go. It's a customized Easter invite card. We did something similar for Christmas. And I don't know how many of you were on here where you got a chance to hear about Bishop Sweet, one of our pastors, and their church was about 12 to 15 people. They used those Christmas invite cards and they had 57 people show up for their Christmas service. 57 people. And it was 57 new people. It wasn't people that they like, just people that they knew that they came with other people. It was 57 people. And so those invite cards work. And the reason they work is because they're not coming from the church, they're coming from a person. They are real people in your church inviting real people in their lives to come in. And we're going to give you that. But also another thing that we're going to do in the Easter kit is that I'm going to give you some content for digital ads. So we're going to give you social media templates. If you want to run some digital ads, if you want to do Facebook ads and things of that nature, then we're going to give you some content for it. We're going to give you some copy. We're going to give you some sample graphics, all those kind of things to help you take the next step. All right. So who is your one? Who's your one? All right. Real quick, let me know in the chat. Do you believe that a Who's Your One campaign would work in your church? Yes or no? Drop yes or no in the chat. Pastor Tim said yes already. Do you think it would work in your church? Yes or no? Who's your one? Everybody just bring one person. Who's your one? Yes, yes, yes. All right, I see a whole bunch of yes. So we all believe it'll work. All right, love it. Let's keep going. Number 3, we halfway there. Create an engaging Easter service. All right, so let's talk about this. You need to create an engaging Easter service. There are a lot of people who are going to come because it's Easter, but they're only going to come back if they enjoy the experience. Let me say it again. There are people who are going to come to church on Easter Sunday because it's Easter. But if they come back, they're going to come back because they had a great experience. And so what you've got to do is you've got to do your part to create a great experience. And creating a great experience doesn't mean you have to have the best of everything. It doesn't mean you got to have the biggest band and the best building and you got to be the best preacher and all. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means is you have to bring forth the best of what you have. And you need to be considerate of what church feels like from the perspective of a guest. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we did a session on systems thinking. And one of the things that I shared is that so many times as pastors, we only see our churches from the pulpit and we never see it from the pews. And so we don't see it the way other people see it. And we've got to learn to put ourselves in their shoes. And you've got to learn to do it. And one of the things I challenge you to do, this is not your action, but I challenge you to go to your church this week and in your mind, try to act like you're a brand new person who's never been there before. And just walk along the path that new people go on and just figure out what questions would you have if you were brand new, right? What would be the things that would look weird to you if you were brand new? What are the things that you have become accustomed to that other people would see and it would frustrate them? You know, I learned this years ago that I think Ben Franklin pioneered this study. I may have heard this when I went to the Ben Franklin Museum in Philadelphia a couple years ago. My wife and I went, but it was something to the tune of, he said that if there's a crack in your mirror, he says over time, your brain learns to ignore that crack. So much so to where you walk up to the mirror, even with the distorted image, your brain will take the image from your left eye, right eye, rectify it to make the crack become invisible. And I'm saying that because there might be some cracks that have become invisible to you, but are worth your attention so that guests can have a good experience. Maybe it's your restrooms aren't nice. Maybe your restrooms aren't as clean as they need to be. Maybe there's a weird smell when you first walk in the lobby. right? And I'm saying all stuff that has happened to me before, okay? Right? Whatever it is, what are the cracks? Maybe you assume people just know where they're going when they come to church. Your bathrooms are hard to find, right? Maybe you use insider language in service. You say, hey, if you want to join this team, see Sister Mary after church, and nobody knows who Sister Mary is, right? What are the different things, right? The goal is to make first-time guests feel welcome, comfortable, and engaged. And so I want you to be thinking about how you can create an engaging service. All right. So here's what I want you to do. And again, I just gave it to you. I want you to walk through your first time guest experience step by step. What's the first thing a new person sees when they come to church? Who's the first person they encounter? Is it clear where they should park? Where should they sit? Can they sit anywhere? Can they sit on the back row in the corner? Or can they sit on the front row? Or is that reserved for deacons and elders? All right. What's the flow of your service? Does the flow of your service make sense? Do you have a flow of service that's going up? Or do you have a flow of service that's start and stop and start and stop? Let's have a song, then let's stop for announcements. Let's have a song, then let's stop for giving. Let's have a song, then let's go into worship, and then let's stop for another. Like, what is your service flow? Right? How does that work? I want you to think about that. You want to think about it from the perspective of the people who are coming in, who are coming to be a part of it. And you want to make it as engaging as possible. Bonus, you want to make it engaging for children. We talk about this all the time, so I won't rehearse it here again. But there are ways that if you don't have the staff for a full children's church, there are ways to integrate children into the service in such a way that they feel like they're part, right? And so if you haven't seen it, make sure you go and look in there. I think it's in module 1, where we talk about service planning and family ministry and all of that kind of stuff like that. All right. So here's what we're going to give you. Your exercise is to make sure you walk through the service. All right. But here's one of the things that we're going to give you in the Easter kit is that I'm going to give you some things to help you get a kickstart and a head start on your Easter planning. All right. So one of the things I'm going to give you is that I have written and put together 2 Easter sermon outlines. Right. I put them together already. I'm going to give them to you. You can take them and use them as a starting point. You can take them and use them as they are. I've given you the graphics to go with those series. We built graphics for one series called Come Alive, for one sermon series called Come Alive, and another one called From Death to Destiny, right? And I'm going to give you both of those in the Easter kit, okay? You'll have both of those. They'll give you what you need to get your start. But then also, I'm going to give you a simple flow of worship. We just helped a church that has been a traditional church change their service flow over the past month or so. And I was speaking with the pastor. He said, man, it made a world of difference. He says so many things change when we change the flow of service. He says it feels like by the time we get into the message and we get to the end of the message, we're on a high instead of feeling like, I've got to build it back up. He's like, man, it's much easier because the people have already been on an ascension as we come forward, simply because of the flow of our service. All right. So you want to create an engaging Easter service, and you want to make sure that people come back. All right. Let's keep going. That's number 3. We're halfway there. All right. Are y'all is this been helpful so far? If this has been helpful for you so far, let me know in the chat. Has this been helpful? I know I'm kind of dropping it at you, man. I'm getting it at you rapid fire. Told you to take notes. Make sure you have it so you can go down through this. All right. Helpful, helpful, helpful. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Let's keep going. Number 4. The 4th thing that needs to be a part of your Easter plan is that you need to mobilize your team without burning them. Mobilize your team without burning them out. Right. If you're not careful, you'll go so crazy for Easter that your people will check out until after the summer. Hear me now. They won't tell you, oh, I'm checked out, I'm done. But what you'll start to see is that things will get real slow all for the rest of April, all May. Kids get out of school, then the summer come up, everybody gone traveling. And the next thing you know, you seeing them when it's time to come back to school, September, October. All right. So what you want to do is you want to make this a big day without making a few people have to carry all the weight. How do you do that? Is that you need more hands on deck. You need more hands on deck. You need to be thinking about how to get more people involved. What did Jesus say? He said, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Pray to the Lord of the harvest that he would do what? Send more laborers. Jesus told us a solution. The solution is more laborers. It's more laborers. He says, man, we need more laborers in the field. It's not just a bigger building. It's not just better music. It's not just better this and better that. It's more laborers in the field. All right. We need more laborers in the field. And so we need our volunteers engaged, not exhausted. We need them engaged, not exhausted. And so we need to pray and we need to have a plan to get more people involved. Right. So here's one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about something. It's going to feel counterintuitive, but I promise you it's going to help. I want you to plan somewhere in the 4 weeks leading up to Easter, a volunteer appreciation. A volunteer appreciation. I want you to plan a time to just say thank you to your volunteers. When you handle the volunteers you have well, it becomes a sign to other people, and you'll be surprised that more people will come and volunteer. I remember a couple years ago, I was a part of a staff, and people would always come up to us and to different people on the staff and be like, I'm sure praying for you. Oh, y'all be working so hard. Y'all do so much. Lord, I'm praying for you, right? And they were right. Like they knew we had crazy schedules. We were all young. Like we were working like crazy. But it wasn't a shock that we were running a big old church with a handful of people because people saw us. We always looked tired. We were always ripping and running. We always had stuff going on. And nobody looked at that and said, you know what? That's a team I want to be on. I got more space to be exhausted in my life. Nobody said that. And so what we did is that we eventually changed our culture. And when we shifted that culture, one of the things that happened is that people got a chance to see that we could be healthy and serving at the same time. People got a chance to see that we were appreciated, that we enjoyed what we did, and it opened the door for more volunteers to come on. So here's what I want you to do. In the weeks leading up to Easter, I just want you to do something for volunteer appreciation. It doesn't have to be big. It can be as simple as bringing all your volunteers to the front of the church and standing them in front of the church saying thank you and just having everybody stand up and clap for them and just thank them and appreciate them. It could be giving them all a $5 Starbucks gift card. It could be, I like to grill. So one of the things that I would do is I would take a Saturday, and I would just grill some chicken, hamburgers, and hot dogs and have all of them come over and get a plate. Or I would take it to the church and I would just say, thank you. I appreciate you. I would take different teams to do different stuff. I took our worship team to Top Golf and just hung out with them for a day. It just said, thank you, whatever it is, but you need to appreciate your volunteers. One of the tools that we're going to give you in the Easter kit is a volunteer role checklist. I'm going to give you a checklist to say, okay, what are the roles that you need in church? Because it's hard to get volunteers if you're not clear on what you need. You need to do an inventory and know exactly what you need. You need to know what you need because you said, man, we need more volunteers to do what? Be specific. Be specific about what you need. Because if you're saying you need an usher, but my gift is social media, then you know what? I may not be a fit. But if you can be specific and say, look, we need a young person who understands social media and who is willing to post on Facebook and help us post on Instagram and TikTok and all this kind of stuff like that, you can be very specific. So I'm going to give you a checklist and help you think through the roles that you need to create, that you need for Easter. All right. Really quick, spur of the moment. I want you to drop in the chat. What's one role that you need for Easter? What's one role you need somebody to step into for Easter? Put it in the chat for me. Put it in the chat for me. I'm going to pick somebody. I'm going to give you an idea for how you can get that role. All right. What's one role you need for Easter? Put it in the chat. Let me know what it is. All right. I see greeters. Welcome center host. Media person. Outside sidewalk greeters. That's good. Okay. I see a lot of greeters. All right. Altar workers. Come on, somebody. I like that. Altar workers. All right. So I see two I want to speak to. All right. Because I see a lot of greeters. And then I like altar workers. All right. So let me give you just simple idea for how to recruit those two roles. All right. First, let me say this. No, you have a volunteer recruitment GPT in the members area. If you go into the members area, I created a channel in Chat GPT that if you tell it the name of your church and the role that you need, is going to give you strategies to go and recruit people, right? And I've already trained it. I've already implemented, put scripture into it. All of that kind of stuff. It's got everything you need. But let me give you two things, all right? If you want greeters, well, here's one of the things to do. Find the friendliest person you can who's not currently serving. And when you recruit them, instead of saying from the pulpit, hey, we need some greeters to come and greet people, I want you to go to those people one-on-one. When you see them next Sunday, I want you to walk up to them and say, hey, every time I see you, you just got such a beautiful smile and your countenance is always just so good. Look, would you consider, we've got Easter Sunday coming up and we really want to put a good foot forward. And I'm telling you, man, you got the countenance I really would just love to see at the front. That's what I want people to experience when they come here. Would you consider being a greeter with us for Easter Sunday? And all you got to do is just do what you've been doing. Just really be your happy, exciting, welcoming self and just bring it. Would you consider doing that? 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes. Find somebody who is already naturally doing it and invite them to come alongside. All right. Altar workers. If you're looking for altar workers, and I know y'all culture a little bit, so that's a little bit more specialized, but there is a training that I created a couple years ago. First time I ever had to build an altar team. And I created this training. And I'm gonna just give you this acronym real quick because I don't even think this is in the boot camp. But it's called Gladiators. All right. And so we would use the acronym GLAD to teach people how to work the altar, how to train them. All right. It was greet, listen, address, deliver. All right. When people come up, greet them. Hey, how you doing? My name is such and such. What's your name? All right. Listen. Hey, look, how can I pray for you today? What brought you up today? Right? Don't just guess. Let them tell you, like, listen to what they have to say, address it. Okay. So you wanna give your life to Christ for the first time. Man, this is so good. Like, listen, I remember when I first gave my life to Christ, this was an amazing moment. But you address it, then deliver. Pray. Pray for what they ask you to pray for. God bless you. Send them on their way. And so what I would do, Pastor Maxwell, is I would have a simple plan like that or a simple training like that is ready. And then I would use that in inviting people in. Sometimes when we invite people to serve and volunteer, we don't give them enough information to say yes or no. Right? I see this a lot of time with churches. Every time I see a church post a job opening for their pastoral, for their senior pastor, I always read it. Right? I'm not interested in it. I don't want to do it, but I just go and just read the listing. And you know what's so funny? The churches always talk about what they want, and they never talk about what they give. Like all they say is, we looking for a pastor who got this degree, who believe this, who is this kind of man, husband of one wife, got this, willing to do this, da 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 da. And it's like, okay, great. But what are you bringing? Like, what are you offering me? Do I get a stipend for training? Do I have a stipend for, this? Are you going to give me a team that's willing to work with me? Am I allowed to build my own team to come alongside? Like, what's the give and take? And so this is what I mean when I say, see your church from the pews. If you were sitting in the pews and somebody was asking you to do something, what information do you need to say yes? All right. So you want to mobilize your team. All right. Let's keep going. Last two, we're almost home. Number 5 is you need to nail the follow up. Nail the follow up. All right. Now, we talked about a couple of things that were pre Easter. All right. Then we talked about a couple of things that were during Easter that are going to be in effect right there during the Easter service. Now let's talk about what happens after. Because please hear me. I have had Easter Sundays where our crowd tripled on that day. And then the next Sunday, you absolutely could not tell. And I'm telling you, don't settle for just good attendance on Easter. Here's where the rubber meets the road post Easter. You got to nail the follow-up plan. And here's one of the truths you need to know. 80% of people will not come back unless you follow up with them within 48 hours. If you don't follow up with people, they don't usually come, because that's a part of it. Follow up is like feedback for new people. It is like saying to somebody hey, look, man, you did a really great job at this. And then they come back. How else do they know you want them to come back unless you let them know that you want them to come back? 80% of people don't come back if you don't follow up within 48 hours. That means if they come to visit on Sunday, by Tuesday, no later than Tuesday evening, you should have made contact with them. Somebody should have made contact with them. And there's a bunch of ways you can make contact: email, text messages. The most effective way is phone calls. But phone calls, text message, email, you need to follow up with them. People do not get married after the first date. Not usually. And if they do, it's a miracle. How will you follow up with people? Right? People make that decision over time. And so one of the things that you've got to do is you've got to have a follow-up plan. All right. So let me give you a simple strategy for follow-up. Right? Simple thing is I want you to go ahead and think about planning 3 follow-ups for everybody who comes to Easter service. 3. All right. Here's what they are: 1 text message, 1 phone call, and 1 email. I want you to go ahead and prepare for that. Go ahead and build a team around it. Who's going to make the phone calls on Monday? Who's going to send out the text, or you can automate it? Who's going to send out the email? Who's going to do those things for you? All right. Here's what I'm going to give you in the Easter kit. In the Easter kit, I'm going to give you a script for every one of those things. In the Easter kit, for those of you who already have it, or for those of you who are already in the program, we've already got for you exactly the exact text message to send out, the exact email to send out, and a phone script for what to say when you call people. It's all already right there. All right. But I want you to go ahead and plan for follow-up, because follow-up can make all the difference. All right. Follow-up can make all the difference. All right. Last one, and then I'll take some questions. All right. Last one, then I'll take a few questions. Number 6 is you need to measure and improve for next year. Measure and improve for next year. You know, for a long time, I thought, I didn't really do this because next year felt so far away. But for those of us who have been around doing this for a little bit, next year comes real quick. It seems like we was just saying, next year, and now here we go, Easter 2020. Like, it feel like the year just turned over. And it's mid-February. We literally got 12 more days in this month. And it's March. So what you've got to do is you've got to make sure that you're keeping track of how things are going. Let me say this too. If you're not already, you need to be tracking everything that's happening in your church right now. There was a point where I could open up a spreadsheet or software and I could see year by year how things would go every Sunday. How many people attended, how many decisions. As a matter of fact, I can open up my iNote right now and give you all the data from our church for the last 3 years. How many people attended, how many people received salvation, how many people came down for baptism, how many people joined the church, how many people came to our new members class. I can see all that data in one place right now. Right now. And so what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to be prepared to track the information. I preached at a church today. And I think right after the service, I saw the pastor's son, and he came and he told me, yeah, we had 36 people in attendance today. Right. And I was like, man, I appreciate it. And I loved it because they're tracking it. And he looked at me, he said, man, we're growing. And I said, no, y'all are. Because I went to that same church a year ago and it was 12 people. And today it was 36. And a couple of weeks ago, around the new year, they had like 45. But we only know that because they're tracking it. So you've got to prepare to take the data and to track the information, right? So here's one of the things I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and plan your post-Easter debrief meeting with your team. Easter happens on Sunday. All right, when are y'all gonna get together after that to debrief from Easter? All right, you can do this different ways depending on the culture of your team. Do you have a team that would like to go out to eat together after Easter service? Would they like to gather at somebody's house? Would y'all all go to somebody's house and eat? Or would y'all put it off for a couple of days and say, hey, let's do a Zoom call Monday night? Like whatever it is, you need to go ahead and plan it, go ahead and put it on your schedule, and go ahead and let your team know so they can put it on their schedule. We want to make sure that we've got a plan to debrief with them. All right. One of the things that I'm going to give you in the Easter kit is I'm going to give you a Easter debrief template. So I'm going to literally give you a template with a little form that you fill out, questions that you want to answer. So you'll just literally sit there and say, all right, team, tell me this. What was one thing we did really, really well that went really, really well for Easter? All right. What's one tweak we could have made that could have really taken us up to the next level? Right. I'm going to give you that template so that you can walk through it to make sure that you're catching the data, that you're prepared for it. And I'm going to give you a tool to help you plan some next steps from it. All right. So I want you to start thinking about how you can debrief from Easter. All right. Let me see how many of y'all believe the debrief will make a difference. Let me see, yes or no. Will it make a difference in your church? Put in the chat for me. Will the debrief make a difference? Yes or no? Yes or no? The debrief will make a difference. All right. I see some yeses, yeses, yeses. Debrief will make a difference. Debrief will make a difference. All right. Beautiful. All right. So listen, I want to take a couple of questions before I go to the next part. I'm going to share just a little bit more. I'm going to recap what we were talking about. But if you have a question, I want you to just real quick either raise your hand or just you can post your question in the chat. If you have a question about prepping for Easter, getting ready for Easter, I want to take these last 15 minutes or so, answer your questions, and so that we can make sure everybody is on the same page about where we're headed next. All right. So let me pull up my little list here so you can hit the hand raise or drop your question in the chat so that I can see it and I'll answer as many as I can before we get ready to get out of here. This is acting weird. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's hear your question.
Pastor Henry, I have a question.
Okay, go for it.
I don't see the hand raising, so I just unmuted. I'm doing something very unorthodox this Easter that I've never done. We'll see how it goes. I had a meeting with my leadership today. I'm actually doing a bike blessing on Easter Sunday. I'm targeting because I'm a biker. I'm targeting the motorcycle community as well as families. Because we will do the Easter egg kind of hunt. We might give out Easter egg bags. We're doing a rooftop candy drop and whatnot. My concern is what you were talking about with the follow-up. Because this is so unorthodox, it's not traditional. No one has ever done it. My colleagues probably think I'm going to be I'm crazy because it's not traditional. But how would you suggest that I collect information from bikers? It's not like a service where I can say, hey, this is the card. How would I do that? Because I don't want to miss that aspect, because then it would be, in some ways be in vain because we're not able to do any follow-up.
Yeah, that's a good question. Tell me what a bike blessing usually looks like.
Okay. Bikers will come in and we're blessing not just motorcycles, slingshots, any type of bike. We're going to be blessing children's bikes. We're going to have families bring, kids' bikes and stuff like that. And what we normally do is I do several of them where we're going and we're actually touching each bike and praying for the bikes as well as the bikers, for that God would give them safe travel as because it's the opening of the season. Easter is falling like right perfectly for the opening of biker season. And so we would do that. We might even give out, there's something called Where there's like little bells that bikers will put on their bikes, and it's almost like giving them a prayer cloth kind of thing back when
Mhm.
we used to give out prayer cloths, and they would put them on their bike, and it's just really something of protection that has been prayed over, anointed, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
for them. And so that we would just go through that. We're simplifying because we had a group people that came um last year, and some of my folks from my church, which you already talked about, burnout, they were like, we're not coming this Easter because that thing wore us out. And so we're trying to simplify it with food, because we had really a buffet and we served everybody. So we're just going to do hot dogs, give out hot dogs,
Mhm.
chips, and water, and that kind of thing. And we had that discussion today, how many people we need to do that as we begin to organize, and how do we not do necessarily uh, Easter egg hunt that we've done, because we're everybody's going to be so spread out on the lawn and whatnot. We won't be
Mhm.
able to do that. So we're thinking about giving each child a Easter bag that has toys in it, candy in it, Skittles, that kind of
Little stuff
thing,
like that.
and then doing a rooftop, which was a big success,
Mm.
candy drop. One drop for the little ones, and then for the older ones, because it was a massacre last year, and so we want to protect them from that, trampled on and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so I
Uh,
have a thought for you. Tell
mhm,
me if this is normal, because I think we talked about this a while back, because I saw you had posted about being at a bike lesson
mhm,
like maybe a year or two ago, or when you had first started the program.
mhm.
And I just thought it was a really cool thing, right? It's almost like this outside thing where people just kind of gathering. Could you do a photo area for bikers? Would
Oh, we
that be?
talked about that. We are. With the kids are going to be able to take photos on the bikes,
So
on a
I
sled
think if you
ride.
had an area where you had people pull up, each biker who you're blessing, you pull up and say, "Hey, we want to put you guys on our prayer wall. We want to be praying over you guys, blah, blah, blah." You take that picture and you use that contact information as a way to say, "Hey, fill this out, scan this QR code, whatever it is. We're going to send these pictures to you." Right? We'll make sure you get access to these pictures. I think that'd be a really cool way to do it. A QR code, I think, is easiest because you can just put it on a sheet of paper, print it out full size, put it right there and say, "Hey, pull up, take your picture, scan this QR code, fill out that form, and we'll send you the link when the pictures are ready."
I
And
like
then everybody could have it. And I think that'd be a super simple way to gather that information from everybody.
Okay, that's a great idea. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love the innovation, man. Do something different.
Yeah, they might crucify me in my community.
Hey, and you getting ready to have some visitors too. You getting ready
Uh,
to have some more visitors from down south coming up your way.
oh,
Matter of fact, I booked one of the tickets just the other day, so we already coming up the way. So yeah, we're coming to visit. We're coming to relieve you up in the month of March. So be on the lookout. We'll talk again very soon.
okay, okay,
And we're not taking no for an answer.
okay. All
So
right.
love it, love it. All right. Who else has questions? Anybody have a question for Easter?
I have a question. It's actually going back to the altar worker, something that you referenced in regards to having them pray. Typically, we have people working the altar that will assist, and the pastor or the preacher is the one that's praying for most of the people. Do you propose that we shift that a little bit more? Because most people that come, they're coming because they want the pastor or the preacher to actually pray who has done the actual altar call. Are you
Yeah.
suggesting that the altar workers are more there to pray as opposed to assist?
Yeah, I think it depends on your culture. I think with your culture, that's kind of the expectation a little bit that, the person who was ministering was going to come down. But one of the things that was a value of mine is that I absolutely love praying for people and I love being there for people, but I also saw just great value in the other altar. Our prayer team were our altar workers. And so in that prayer team, being able to pray for people. And so a lot of times what I would do is I would pray from the pulpit, the platform, the stage, whatever you call it, but they would kind of pray on the floor unless it was specific moments where I felt led to do that. And the reason that, and I really got pushed into that in a season where our church grew so fast that I became the bottleneck. The more stuff I had to do, the slower we had to move. And so it got to a point where, you know, I could go on the altar and pray with all 30 of these people. But if I'm really being me and I'm pouring myself out as the Lord leads, I could be at each person. I want to be at every person for 5 minutes. I want to be at every person and take my time and so on and so on. And so instead of me having to pay for 30 people for 5 minutes each, I could allow 30 people to pray for one person or 15 people to pray for two people for 5 minutes each. And we could really get some things moving forward. And so that was my rationale behind it. I think I think there are moments like on an Easter Sunday, if you want to take a moment and really just pray and minister to people, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think long-term health, our gifts exist for the equipping of the saints for the work of ministry. We
Thank you.
need to bring them to the point where they can come alongside of us and do ministry so that they learn. Because even something as simple as praying for people on the altar, let me be honest with you, having to pray for people on the altar is what changed my ministry life. I literally was on the altar having secret battles in my own mind, in my own head, trying to believe I'm free, feeling like I'm not enough, feeling like God can't use me with all the mistakes I made. My pastor put me on the altar and made me go. Sundays where I was like trying to fake sick because I didn't want to go down there, he made me go on the altar. And one Sunday, here I am thinking I'm the rich of the world. And a young man came forward with tears in his eyes, looking at me like I was God's emissary to help get him through a storm. And as I was praying for him, something broke in me. And from that day forward, I took my call completely differently. I took it more seriously than I ever had because I had an encounter with real ministry. And I think that's the value of allowing the people that God's given you to walk through those ministry challenges, those ministry situations, putting them in places where they have to engage with real ministry. I think it makes a huge difference. So I always lean that way. I always lean towards equip the people to do it, because the more you can equip them to do that stuff, you open yourself up for space to continue to follow the Lord into other things He's calling you into.
Thank you for taking the
Yeah.
time to share that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. Beautiful. Let's take, I did get one more. Miss Paula said, how do we get the Easter kit? All right, I'm going to post a link for it in just a second. And we do have extra support. So if you, for example, if you don't have necessarily a media person or a graphic person, or you're not super tech savvy, we have partnered with some designers, with our designers, the ones that we use, and they will actually build your stuff for you. They'll customize your graphic, your series, your whole nine. I'm going to post that link here in just a second. All right. All right. I got space. One more question. One more before I go on. Then I'm going to jump in and I'm going to close this thing out. One more question. One more. Who wants to take the final one?
Could you repost the chat GBT link?
Say it again.
So can you repost the chat GBT link?
It's in the members area. I can't post it here because it's not public.
Right.
If you log in to Church Hub and go to the members area, you can see it there. All right.
Okay.
Yep, it's in there. All right. All right, let's see. Somebody asks, what's your thought about doing a kids bike raffle giveaway on Easter to attract kids and get their parents to bring them and use as an evangelistic event, followed by a welcome party with snacks and candy bags? I think that's a good idea. I've done something similar before. I'm one of those people where I think anytime you can blend outreach and evangelism, I think it's an opportunity. And outreach is, I like to define outreach as showing the community the hands and feet of Jesus. Evangelism is inviting people into a relationship with Jesus. And so anytime you can be the hands and feet of Jesus, I think it matters. Jesus cared about wine at a party. I'm pretty sure he would care about little kids being able to just play safely in the neighborhood, if they had a bike to play on instead of, whatever else. So I think it's a cool opportunity. If it's something that you see as a need and you think could really make a big difference, I think it's valuable. I would also consider maybe surrounding that day with some other things just to make sure that it's not one of those deals, because I've made this mistake before. I gave away like an Xbox or something like 15 years ago when they were like still really new and whatnot. But it was kind of one of those things where it almost felt like anybody who didn't get that, they just kind of missed out and they didn't get anything. And so the following year, we still did a big giveaway like that, but we did some other stuff as well, where we literally just made sure that everybody could have a powerful experience so that nobody felt left out. But I think it's a great idea. Strategize it, put a plan to it, and I say go for it. I think it'll be awesome. I think it'll be awesome. All right. And hang around, Pastor Smith, and Apostle Smith, I'll help you get in there. All right. All right, so let me give you this last piece. Let's talk next steps. Let's talk about the Easter kit. All right. So here's what we did. This year, we decided to build an entire kit for our pastors. And again, if you're in the Church Systems Boot Camp, or if you're in the Church Systems in a Box, I'm going to upload this for you. You get this. It's completely included. We're even covering the cost of just the delivery of everything. Like all of that is included in the program. All right. If you want customizations, of course we will put together something for you for that, but other than that, it's all there for you. And so here's what's going to be in the Easter kit. We really kind of categorize it in a couple of different ways. So number one is we're going to give you an entire suite we put in there for you of Easter planning tools. Right. It's literally just tools to help you take the next step, to make sure that you have everything you need to make Easter really be impactful and effective. All right. So stuff like we put together the timeline for you that is detailed, that's going to help you really walk things forward, a service template, a checklist. We even gave you suggestions for worship songs, volunteer coordination, all those different things are included. All right. And so we're just giving you these tools to say, hey, what are the things you need to be thinking about to make sure that this is as impactful and as it possibly can be. The second thing that's going to be in the Easter kit is done for you sermon and service resources. As I said, I put together some social media templates that you can edit. We've already put together a couple of different graphics, some follow-up stuff, all these kind of things we put in there so that you can make sure you have it, right? Even simple stuff like sermon details, right? Like I put together a couple of outlines for some sermons so that you have a starting point. And again, I'm not, tapping myself on the back, but I believe, I can put together a pretty good sermon. I can put together some pretty good sermon notes. And so if you want something that's going to be a starting point for you, that's going to help you get started, going to help you get rolling, all that kind of stuff like that, we put it together for you. It's there. All you got to do is literally just walk through it and begin to kind of see all those things kind of come out. All right. So we gave you the sermon tools. Number three, the third thing that's included is the guest engagement and follow-up system, right? So you're going to get like all of the scripts for follow-up. We're going to show you exactly what to text people, what to email people, what to say when you call people. All those things are going to be in there to make sure that you can get people to come back. Listen, I'm excited about people coming for Easter. I'd be more excited if they came back the week after, right? And so we want to help you do that. And a part of how you do that is with follow-up. We're also going to give you some ready-to-use marketing materials. So again, social media stuff, all those kind of things. And then finally, there are a couple of exclusive bonuses that we're including in there for you that are going to be, we're going to leave those as a surprise for you. So when you get the kit, you'll look down and you'll see bonuses. There are going to be a couple of other tools that we're going to give you just because we want to help you take the next step. All right. And again, we do this every year for our partners. I think last year we did, if I can remember correctly, we did like a checklist and we did like a little booklet for it. But this year we wanted to double down on that and make sure we saw God do so many amazing things last year for Easter. There were so many testimonies that came out of it that we thought like, man, how can we kick this up a notch? So for everybody in our program, it's already there. It's included for you. But for those of you who are not, I know I've got a lot of guests and different people who are watching this webinar And if you're not in one of our programs, there's a couple of options for you. All right. Option number one is that you can get the Easter kit. It's $197 one time. That literally covers the cost of production. We'll deliver it to you in a members area where you can log in and you can download all those resources as needed. You can customize them. You can share them with your team. We're going to give you a lot of the graphics in Canva so that you can go in there and edit them, put your logo in it, all that kind of stuff. So your Easter kit is ready to go. You could be 30 days, 45 days before Easter, have it all done already. So that kit itself is going to be $197. Now, if you want to customize it, this is where we partnered with some design partners where if you need your Easter kit customized, right? You need it literally somebody put the graphics together, put our logo in it, put my name on it, put my picture on it, put all my stuff in it. If you need all of that stuff, we've got some designers to put it together for you. And so you can get that kit. We'll do a meeting with you and then we'll pass you off to that designer and they will do everything for you. And that is $397. That's just one time. And I'm telling you right now, you can barely get 2 flyers designed these days for $397. And so you're going to get everything customized for you to where you'll literally have a total packet. That's what we've instructed them to do, to give you a total packet of everything you need. And these are the designers that we work with on a regular basis. We trust them. We know they're good people. We know that they know what they're doing, but we're offering them to you to help customize your stuff for you. But here's your third option. And I think what might be your best option is maybe you're here and you're saying, man, look, we could really use some help. This sounds like the kind of community I want to be a part of, being able to be a part of a call like this every Sunday night, whatever it is. Then we invite you to come in and to be a part of the boot camp of our Church in a Box program. And with our entire program, you can join our program for just $197 a month. And then you get the whole kit. It's included for you as well, just like you were one of our partners. All right. And so either of those options, all of those options are available to you. All you got to do is take advantage of whichever works for you. I'm getting ready to drop the link into the chat box here in just a second. And once I drop that link in the chat box, you can grab it, you can copy it, you can paste it. And then for those of you who are not currently a part of our program, you can go in there and you can grab your kit. And as you grab your kit, you can actually start right now getting ready to take the next steps to actually getting your stuff together. And the kits are going to be releasing tomorrow. I'm going to take this video because I'm going to add this video in there. We're going to take this video down. And so at some point tomorrow, we'll upload the kit. We'll send out a text or an email letting you know that it's there and it's available. And all you've got to do then is go in, get your kit, and you can get to work and you can start moving. You can start getting it done. You can start working it out. You can start making it happen. All right. Listen, man, I really, really hope that this was good for y'all, man. Was this helpful? Can y'all let me know in the chat if this is if this was helpful to you? If you got something out of tonight's call, out of tonight's webinar, let me know in the chat if this was a blessing to you. I put the link in the chat. You can click it there. And you can actually go in there and get your kit if you don't have one already. For those of you who already got the kit, we're super excited to get a chance to partner with you and to see what God is going to do. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the secret. One of the bonuses that we're going to pass off to all of you is that I'm going to do a strategy call with each of you to just talk about your Easter, to help you think through your Easter. I'm going to do a strategy call for everybody who has that kit. And we're just going to talk, and I'm just going to be your coach, your consultant in that moment to help you take the next step and to help you figure out, hey, not only how can we do this for Easter, but man, what are the things that we're doing for Easter that we can really take to the next step for our church as a whole? Well, I'm going to help you with that. We're going to talk about that on that strategy call. We'll spend about 45 minutes and we're just going to dive into it. All right. We're going to dig into it. We're going to make sure that you have what you need. All right. So listen, I'm going to get ready to end this call, but I'm going to leave it open for a moment because once you leave, you may not be able to get back to that link. So I'm going to leave that link in the chat. Go ahead and click that link. Before we do that, I promised you a bonus for all of you who came here live. So let me give you your free checklist, your Easter planning guide. If you look there in the chat, that PDF should be popping up. You can click that, download that. You can take that free planning guide and you can use it as a checklist. For those of you who are in the program, you don't have to worry about downloading it right there because you'll be able to get it in the Easter kit and in the members area. And as a matter of fact, you're going to have one that's a little bit more detailed and going to have some more solutions that go along with it. All right. I want to say a word of prayer. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to say a word of prayer. I'm going to ask Apostle Smith, would you close us out in a word of prayer? You look like you just got prayer on you. I just hear it in your voice. And so if you would just close us out in a word of prayer as we get ready.
Amen. Well, this has certainly been an amazing time. I thank God for the fellowship in the community. And so, Father God, we just give your name glory and praise. We thank you for being so kind to us and giving us everything we need, God, to carry forth the work and the assignment of ministry. We thank you for every ministry gift that is on this call, God, that is extending your kingdom, God, and your commandment, oh God. And we ask, oh God, that you would give us the wisdom and the grace, the guidance and the direction that we need, God, to carry forth this work, God, to reach souls. We pray to the God of the harvest for laborers, oh God, for strengthening the hands that are on this line, God, for building pastors, oh God. Father, we thank you for souls, oh God, for abundance of souls coming into our congregations, oh God, and those, oh God, that will be converted into the kingdom, oh God. Now, God, as we leave this place and not your presence, oh God, continue to lead, God, and direct us, oh God, and continue to help us to stand in the gap and to pray one for another. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
God bless. Look forward to hearing from some of you all really soon. If you got questions, just reach out to me, reply to my email or text message, and we can have a conversation. All right. God bless. Y'all enjoy your week. Enjoy your President's Day.
Man.